welcome back to another episode of Varsity Views Inside the Huddle Edition, brought to you by Keystone Sports. I'm Jax Gregory.
And I'm Darien Jackson.
And Week 6 had some very close games all the way around, so let's get into it.
Coming in at number 5 on our top 5 schools of the week, we have University Schools versus Gilmore. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard a school called University. Like, they were just flat out University, but that's besides the point. Going directly into the game, first play, off the kickoff, Gilmore fumbles.
Yeah, not a good sign for Gilmore in this one. I mean, that's how you do not want to start off a game, is fumbling on the opening kickoff, and University would end up scoring on that drive.
I mean, starting out the game 7-0, knowing that it's one of those plays where it didn't have to happen.
And being that Gilmore got the opening kickoff, that means University gets the ball at halftime because they got the opening kickoff. But now, since you fumble, University starts out with the ball and they get the ball coming out at halftime. So not a good look for Gilmore, not how they wanted to start this game.
Not to mention that they already scored within minutes.
Yeah.
With probably like 2 minutes for real.
Yeah, but on Gilmore's next drive, they would respond, but end up missing the point after.
This will make the game 7-6 with University Schools up. I feel like I gotta say schools at the end because this ain't University's like, you playing a college team, my guy? No, like making it 7-6, University would be up. But man, did they go on a run?
Yeah, they laid it on Gilmore. At halftime, it was 21-6, University ahead, and Gilmore just looked like they were out of it, like had no life.
Well, listen, it's okay because when you go into halftime, 21-6 isn't bad. It's definitely doable. Like, I've seen it happen. So, going into half down 21-6, you got to come out gunning.
Yeah, and the bad part was that University was getting the ball back since Gilmore technically started with the ball, even though they lost it. But coming out of halftime, Gilmore's defense would stop University, and they would end up scoring a touchdown of their own to make the game 21-13.
But, however, that doesn't really matter because Gilmore gets it right back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both teams.
University gets it right back.
You are so right. See, this is why you my dog. Listen, man, with both teams scoring in the third quarter, I mean, Gilmore needed to stop.
Yeah.
Which they got and scored. You need to get another one, but they weren't able to do that. So, being down now 28-13 at the end of the third, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You got chances here. But going into the fourth, Gilmore did get a stop.
They did.
And they did score.
They put up another score, yeah.
But it was not enough.
No, it wasn't enough. University would end up winning this one 28-20. That was the final, and player of the game was player Ryan Pattinson, who had 3 rushing touchdowns while also rushing for 150 yards, and on defense, he also had an interception, so he was everywhere for them on the field.
I would hope so, man. They was out there killing. For all we know, that interception could have been something special.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a tie. That could have been... You know what? What if that was to stop Gilmore's run? Like, what if they were really on the verge of, like, getting another touchdown? He was like, mine.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is to go to KeystonSports.com and look for the author Tony Bogan. He went into real good detail about this game.
Coming at game number 4 on the charts, we got Ursuline versus Cheney. I'm going to be honest. I've never heard of Cheney.
That seems to be a common theme with you this week.
Man, no, for real. Like, I've just not been in the area before. Like, these schools, a lot of these schools are big-name schools or big schools in the area, and it's like, I've just been out the loop a little bit, man.
Cheney was ranked in the state. So I'm pretty sure Ursuline is now ranked since they ended up beating Cheney, which we'll get into shortly. But
for sure. But all right, let's get straight into it. Look, I'm gonna get right to it then. Ursuline, they were a really solid team. I'm not gonna lie, they were a really good team. Cheney was a really good team. That first quarter was definitely a tug of war.
Yeah.
8-7, Ursuline goes up, so obviously they hit that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, converted.
But
yep.
I mean, first quarter with a touchdown apiece. I mean, there's good defense there, and just one person was able to take advantage each time. So, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, and then heading into the second quarter, more of the same. Except this time, Cheney would get a 2-point conversion, and that would make the score tied at 14 going into halftime. So both teams scored again. It just flip-flopped. Cheney got the 2-point conversion. Ursuline kicked the field goal.
I'm going to be honest. I like having tie games going into half because I be thinking, like, listen, that talk at halftime during the tie game is like, one coach got through deeper in his message than the other coach did for his team. Like, someone's showing out tonight. Mm-hmm. And that's literally what happened. Like, Ursuline would come out, 23-20?
Yeah.
So, I'm like...
Both teams scoring, and then Ursuline would end up scoring one more time to go up 30-20. But after that score, Cheney would return a 78-yard kickoff for a touchdown, and make the lead 30-27 Ursuline.
I'm gonna be honest, that touchdown was huge.
Yeah, they came in with 3 points with little still time remaining, but in the end, they didn't have enough to stop Ursuline. The final score would be 30-27, and Ursuline came out on top.
Hate to see when teams have that good run towards the end, and it's just like, look, man, like, you're not even really trying to beat the team. You beating the clock.
Yeah.
Like, the clock beat you at that point.
Exactly.
Like, if you thought you was on a run, you was just like, man, if I had, like, another minute. Because that minute, you know how many possessions you can get? You know how many plays you can do in a minute? Like, they just needed a little more time, but all in all, man, they got it.
Yeah.
They had it.
And Ursuline got some big help from their running back, Christian Lynch, who had 36 carries for 248 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's a heck of a game for the running back and a big reason to why, probably the main reason why Ursuline won. I mean, they had 4 touchdowns equals 28 points, and they had 30 points, so he was their team.
Oh, you talk about the catalyst. That man was carrying, literally. But, hey, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If they can't stop this guy, man, listen, feed me. I bet you that was him on the side. Feed me, man. Make sure you guys go on Keon Sports and look for the author, Jason Hannum. He wrote a really nice article on the Ursuline and Cheney game. So make sure you guys tap in, show some love, leave a comment, get to it.
And coming in at number 3 on our countdown, we have Bay Village versus Rocky River. This is a rivalry game. These are always going to be close. And in the first quarter, Rocky River led 7-0. So not much scoring, but you expect that in a rivalry game.
I'm telling you, like, Rocky River has, like, I played Rocky River before back in my school days. And it seems like compared from my class to this class, like, they're much better this year. And they've been really growing as a team and as a school. So I'm like, Rocky River is really doing their thing. Like, and Bay Village was always known to be, like, at least for us, like, I said Rocky River. Bay Village was always known for being a really good school, especially in sports. And they be wiping people out in, like, the area. So the fact that Rocky River been out here putting in work, that's cake work. Because guess what? Going after that first quarter, score was 14-7.
Yeah, going
Rocky
into
River.
halftime.
Yeah, so it was like Rocky River is still putting it on them. Like, Bay Village, responds with a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. That's what you think. Like, if you're someone that's been around those schools before, you're thinking, like, that's supposed to happen. Like, Bay Village supposed to make it happen. But Rocky River, like, nah. Only if we were allowed to do memes. You know that Chief Keef meme? Nah. They out here coming back with it. So 14-7 at the half.
Yeah, and then coming out of halftime, neither team could score in the third quarter. Nothing happened.
Talk about good defense.
Yeah, still 14. Rivalry game. I mean, these teams don't like each other, so they're going to go at each other like crazy, and the defenses really showed that.
Coming into the fourth quarter, man, was that, what would you want to call it, like a seesaw? Like, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'll tell you right now that, talk about 2-point conversions. 2-point conversions either make you or they break you. Because you really, like, when you go for 2, like, you really need that 2 points. Because the final score ends up being 22-21. But mind you, after it being 14-7 at half and nobody scores in the actual, in the third
quarter, yeah.
Like, they come out, both teams coming out hot with 2 touchdowns, not 2 touchdowns, but
they
like
each scored a touchdown, and they got a 2-point conversion on that after that touchdown.
But when it came to the very end, Bay Village would get their touchdown, and they would be down only 1, 21-22. Rocky River is up, right? Bay Village failed to get 2-point conversion is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, they blew
Instead
it.
of going to tie it at 22, they tried to go for 2 to take the lead, and it failed.
This is actually the second game that we've talked about.
I think that was 2 weeks ago. That team, they kept going for 2 the whole game, and they ended up losing.
The Elyria versus
they ended
Elyria
up
Catholic
losing
game
by like 2 or something.
Yeah, the score ended up being 30-32.
We said
I think.
if you just kick a extra point like 2 or 3 times, and you either win or tie that, you're tied in that game.
Yeah, it was the Elyria versus EC game. I'm pretty sure the game was either 34-36 or 30-32.
It was something.
It was one of those, but they were down by 2, and it was like, how do you fail like 4 2-point conversions? And not to try to bring up 2 weak news, but I'm just saying, like, it's an opportunity where you could just tie and then just say, listen, man, we just need 50-50. Great defense, good offense. Like, that's all we need. Great defense to get good offense. And, you end up in an L. Now, in a situation like this, do you think this would be good or bad?
I mean, if you went for 2 on your last touchdown, you got it. I mean, why not go for it, I guess? But I feel like going into overtime, you still give yourself like a fighting chance, knowing that okay, we're tied. It can go either way.
Yeah, like I feel is that when it's that close, I would really say like even if I went for it last time, like you're expecting me to go for two. Like you're expecting me to go for the win when you don't see my kicker. You know what I'm saying? And all you got to think about as the opposing team is one stop and it's a dub. Like instead of saying like, "Hey guys, let's just go for the tie." I'm gonna come up with a game plan real quick in the huddle, and we about to win this game. Like. But hey, man, talk about we need to come up with something like failed for the 2-point conversion. Something, man. Moral of the story is they didn't get the 2-point conversion. So I mean, it either makes sure you break you, and it broke them, and they weren't able to get the W off of that.
Yeah, Rocky River won this game 22-21, final score in the rivalry game, and the player of the game was Rocky River quarterback Julian Patty, who threw 10 for 14 for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. A big game from Patty, helping this Rocky River squad beat their arch rival.
Make sure you guys go to KeonSports.com. Look for the author, Vince McKee. And if y'all haven't guessed it yet, that is the big dog. That is the man with the plan. Coming in at game number 2 on the charts, we got Keystone versus Firelands. And this game was something special. Now, it might not be number 1, but if you guys understand, the score of this game is ridiculous. The first quarter had to have been probably one of the most highest scoring quarters we've seen in the last few weeks. I mean, 21-14, that is the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns in the first quarter. And now if you guys listened last week, I said this was a game to watch out for. I said Keystone was going to give Firelands some trouble, even though they had not such a good record compared to Firelands. And that high-scoring affair wouldn't change in the second quarter, as Firelands going into halftime would lead 34-28. So, with 2 more touchdowns by each team in the second quarter, this was a shootout, an absolute shootout.
I mean, you know what's even crazier? The third quarter had no scores.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest. Going into halftime, I know them coaches is really mad. Like, how you come out the third quarter, score no touchdown, right? Neither team scores a touchdown, but in the first 2 quarters, it's like, what, like 7, 8 touchdowns?
A lot.
Like a lot. And you sitting there like, man, listen.
Yeah, those coaches in the locker room, they were giving their defenses, they were giving it to them.
They was giving them the business. They probably saying like, bro, I'm really sick and tired of us scoring and we can't stop them. We score again, we still can't stop them. Like, that's literally the story for both teams. So, for them to have no score in the third, they must have been mad. Like, like the whole team must have been really mad. Like, no score. But they probably was using all their energy on playing the defense. Man, that offense was lacking.
The fourth quarter, that would change, though. And we would see Keystone take their first lead of the game, leading 42-40. But shortly after, Firelands would respond with a 53-yard rushing touchdown of their own to go up 46-42.
I mean, it was coming. It was literally on the way. Like, again, Keystone been playing really great. Firelands been playing great. But listen, man, only the strong survive.
Yeah, in Keystone, they had a chance to win the game. Keystone got all the way to the 8-yard line, but when they reached the 8-yard line, they didn't have enough time, and time would expire before they could get the snap off, and they would end up losing a heartbreaker to Firelands, 46-42. So Keystone almost put off that upset I was talking about, but they couldn't get it done.
Talk about another team again where you just telling yourself, if I had maybe another man in this situation, if I had 10 seconds, like, again, you just lost to the time.
Yeah.
Like, to be that close, and you're down 4, so you can't even kick the field goal.
No, you got to get in the end zone. Which, I mean, didn't seem to be a problem in this game. So
no. Like, had there been 10 seconds more, like 10, 15 seconds, like, just for a chance for maybe one play, who would know? Who knows what could have happened?
Even though Keystone couldn't come out on top, they still had a heck of a game from their wide receiver, Zach Shackleford, who had 209 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the real player of the game today was Firelands running back Weston Strader, who had 377 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. They could not stop this man.
I know the last guy I said like, oh, feed me. No, this man was really like, bro, literally throwing me the ball. Like, every time.
Not even throwing it to him, handing it off to him.
Which is even worse.
All the quarterback had to do was just turn around and stick his arm out.
Hey, man, go ahead and take this to the house for me real quick, will you? Bro was gone. Make sure you guys go on Keon Sports as always. Look for the author Nick Kovacs, man. He's had a lot of articles that we done.
Yeah,
a lot of games
he's
he
had
done
quite a
covered.
couple.
Yeah, he's been killing it, man, for real. So make sure you guys go look up Nick Kovacs, man.
And finally, coming in at number 1 on our countdown, we have Tallmadge versus Aurora.
Talk about a tight first quarter.
Yeah, 7-6 at the end of the first quarter. Pretty balanced game. Aurora led by 1. And then the second quarter happened, and we saw a combined 35 points scored. And the offense just came out of nowhere from both teams.
They needed to score. 7-6, they like, okay, that's a little low, but each team is like, we got to figure out a way to blow the doors off this team. And they couldn't do it.
Yeah, and Tallmadge would end up taking the lead into halftime with 24 seconds left. They led 27-21 at the half, looking for a nice win against Aurora.
Coming out of halftime in the third quarter, a lot of defense was being played. Nobody was able to score a touchdown, which seems to be the theme of a lot of these games that we've already talked about.
The high-scoring first half, so no points in the second half.
Especially at the start of the third.
Yeah.
But they didn't score in the third, but Tallmadge was able to get a field goal in the end of the third quarter, and they would go up 30-21.
But in the fourth quarter, it was all Aurora. They would end up scoring another touchdown. That made the lead 30-28. With Tallmadge being still ahead, but Aurora would get the ball back, and with 3 minutes remaining, they would knock in a field goal and take the lead 31-30. Tallmadge couldn't get the ball moving on their last drive, and the Aurora Greenmen would run away with this one 31-30.
Talk about a steal.
Yeah,
Because it looked like, even though the game was never really out of reach for Aurora, but it was the fact that Tallmadge really had the game really set. Hey, as long as we stay up on you guys, we were up by 1, then you go up by
9,
6,
and
then you go up by 9. So it's really I'll be salty. I'll be honest. I'll be kind of sick for real.
And the player of the game for this week is an unlikely one. It's the Aurora kicker/DB, excuse me if I mispronounce your name, Dom Trevisanmo, who had an interception, recovered an onside kick, and also kicked the game-winning field goal with 3 minutes remaining. So great job out there, Dom.
If you guys would love to read up on it, because I know you will, make sure you guys go on Keon Sports and look up the author Tony Bogan. This is the second article he made. He made two articles in the top
show
5
this week.
on the top 5. So good work, Tony.
And with that, that'll wrap up our top 5 countdown of the week for week 6, and that'll bring us to this week's player of the week, which is Firelands running back Weston Strader, who had 377 yards and 6 touchdowns. We talked about him earlier. That's a dominant performance if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna bring up something, but I'm not gonna do it. That man deserved that. 377 yards and 6 TDs, man. 6 touchdowns in a game is, it's not something you see every week, man.
Especially from a running back. Like quarterbacks, in high school they can have those games like we saw Dan Stoddard have, but from a running back, getting 6 touchdowns a game is pretty remarkable.
Hey, man, good work. As you guys know, for the final segment of the show, we got the preview week. This is going to be week 7. I'm actually a little excited for week 7.
Yeah, there's some great games on the slate for this week. Starting off with 6-0 Hudson, ranked 45th in the state, so pretty good. Going into Nordonia, 5-1. Nordonia had their first loss of the season last week against Wadsworth, but if they can bounce back and beat Hudson, teams will have their eyes on this Knights squad.
Not even to mention game number 2 will be Manor versus Medina. I'm going to that game, and I'm actually pretty happy. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm jealous of you because Manor, even though they're 3-2, they're ranked number 16th in the state. Medina, 5-1, they're ranked 41st.
Manor is a really good team. They just played a lot of tough opponents. And
Iggy's one of them.
Yeah, them 2 L's is really not really 2 L's. Plus, as you know, Dan Stoddard has been our player of the week 2 times in a row. What was it, week 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
I could see the man live in action. I'm ready to see what's going on, man. We can only read about it. Now I can actually visually see this, so I'm ready.
Yeah, and another game we have to look out for is I think it's a rivalry game. We got 3-3 Berea Mid Park versus 2-4 Midview. Midview, I think they're a better team than their record shows, and Berea Mid Park is a pretty good team. So I'm looking forward to see the outcome of this one.
I would definitely agree with that. They're a really solid team. They just got to finish the games, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen them really be too much out of it. Mm-hmm. But, they could bounce back. If it's a rivalry game, it depends who's home is the real question. Whoever got home field advantage, I'm sorry. someone's getting upset. I'm just gonna throw that out there for me.
And this game, this is probably the best game of the week, might be one of the best games of the year. The Holy War game, number 4 in the state, St. Ed's 5-1, going up against the rival 4-1 St. Ignatius, who is ranked number 7 in the state.
Oh, this game is most definitely a must-watch high school game. Like I said before, St. Ed's won it last year. So, obviously, you know, when you're a champion, you're picked to win it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to see if you can go back-to-back like Drake. So, but St. Ignatius and St. Ed's, they've always been a powerhouse school, powerhouse teams. I'm still going to run with St. Ed's, in my opinion. But, man, Ignatius, though, 4-1 and 5-1. Someone's about to experience their second loss in the middle of the season, and I couldn't tell you who it is though. I know I said like I'm going with St. Ed's, but for real, like it's really hard. Like these teams go hand in hand. They're back and forth. So I expect this to be. I'm expecting this to probably be number 1 or number 2.
I'd hope so.
For
how hyped up it is, I'd hope so. And then our final game to look out for is number 21 in the state, 5-1 Avon, taking on Olmsted Falls, who's also 5-1 and number 43 in the state. Avon, they got their star running back, Jacorion Caffey. He's been great. And then Olmsted Falls, they've been putting up some big points lately, so this is going to be another great game.
Yeah, like I haven't seen Avon play, but, you know, we've read about it. We've talked about him on the show before. Like, Avon is really good. I've seen Olmsted Falls play, and they're a really good team. Like, no, for real. Like, they're a really good team. They got a lot of good wide receivers and running backs over there. So, I'm thinking I think the Eds and Ignatius and Avon and Olmsted Falls could be the top 2. Ooh. You know, we're just going to have to really figure it out. I think we're really going to have to figure it out.
I'm expecting 4 of these games to be on our list next week. But the only one I'm questioning is the Berea Mid-Park and Midview one, but still, that has a great chance of being up there.
Yeah, for sure. If the game plays out how we think it is, again, what you're saying, maybe a rival game. Mm-hmm. So as long as it lives up to the hype, as long as all these games live up to the hype, they're going to be here. But most definitely, I can see the Menor, Medina, Ez and Ignatius, and Avon and Olmsted Falls game being on here next week. Appreciate you guys tuning in to episode 6. Mm-hmm. Man, we're halfway through the football season.
Yeah.
A little bit over halfway through the football season already. Make sure you guys can really follow us on Instagram at varsity_views. And then you guys can also follow us on Facebook at Varsity Views.
Yep, that's our Facebook page. Yep.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys check us out also on YouTube at Keon Sports. You cannot forget about that one, man. You gotta tap in over there. There will be links to all of that if you guys just follow the pages. If not, make sure you guys check out all the previous episodes that we did, 1 through 5, because we're on episode 6, bro. That's crazy.
Glad to have you back this week, too.
Oh, no, man. You telling me. But appreciate y'all watching, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.